Welcome everyone to Sarah's table, and I'm not Sarah. I'm actually Caustic Phoenix, but we are here with the amazing Sarah. Pixies and Pens. Let me tell you, I have been on here with Gen Con TV and you so many times, and it is always a dream. But we are also doing a little bit of a sunset and holiday wrap up, right? We're at the end of 2024. We're
Yeah.
also launching your new Twitch account as well, and the new stories that we'll be taking on there, the new book that we're opening. And so this is kind of a chance where we get to package everything up nicely. So we're going to do a grand little thing where we get to talk and dive into who is Sarah,
Oh
what
no.
motivates her, while we
Nobody knows the
also
answer.
nobody, well, we're gonna find out something. Or you can just make up the answers too. As it turns out, it
Oh,
doesn't have to be
sweet.
truthful. Yes. Speaking of sweets,
It's
we
like,
are also adding our own little mix to it. So we both have our hot cocoa.
yeah,
Da-da-da. I love your Mama Claus
that's
cup.
good.
Very gorgeous, very cute.
Mm.
And we also each have six things to add to
Yeah.
our hot cocoa. And at different times, we
Oops.
will
Shh.
at different times we will roll a d6 to add to our hot cocoa drink. So
Yay.
it'll be a nice little fun as we go along. Sarah, let me start
Right.
with the good but important basic. How are you doing today?
I feel like I have a lot of conflicting emotions today
Mm,
because I am super excited to be launching this new stuff, doing all of the new big things.
mhm.
But that's also a little anxiety inducing and a little scary.
Yeah,
But also like Gen Con TV has been my home for the past 3 years. And like this is the last one and it's sort of emotional. Like earlier today I was like, oh, I'm doing the last one. So I have Kleenex. I have Kleenex just in
you're prepared.
case.
Oh,
You
it's
never
not
know.
Christmas themed. I'm a little
Not
disappointed in that.
Christmas themed. I know,
It's
but I
okay.
am so Christmas themed. I have
That's
layers and
true.
layers of Christmas on. Just like so many layers. I also have
You
this.
embody holiday
Just in
spirit.
case, here, we also have this. Just a little
That
reindeer
is,
situation. Ba-ba-ba. I
I
also
love
have a
that.
pink Christmas hat. Just close.
Just close, prepared for the
Just
right
you
occasion,
never know. What if
which
you
is
need
right
it?
now.
I might not
Yes.
just have like how many things can I put on my head?
Yeah.
We don't
I
know.
feel like maybe do the hat first and then the antler.
Listen,
I'm not an expert at layering, but
I'm not
maybe.
that's a well, I don't know. I feel like I should be an expert at layering because I live in the Midwest and our weather is stupid.
That's fair. That's
It
fair.
was
Are
it
you
was
staying warm these days?
it was 50 yesterday. And today it is supposed to snow and then overnight drop
Hmm.
below zero.
That is drastic.
So,
Um, this gesture perfectly like
that, that's
the
what I feel
weather.
like. Bleh. This time of year, but I also feel like this time of year, not only with the weather, but like
Mhm.
second half of December turns into
Yes.
like I don't know what day it is because nothing is ever like your normal schedule. Like
Mhm.
I only have one kid left in school and they get a weird schedule in December because like it's midterms and then
Mhm.
they have a bunch of time off and then there's the holidays in there.
It's fine.
I
It's
don't
a
know
little
what day
mix and
it
match.
is.
We don't
It's
need to know what day it is. That's the beauty of it. Who cares?
who needs
No one needs to
days?
know. They're dumb names anyway. Who named
They're so
Monday? Boring.
stupid. Yeah,
Boring.
although I do like Wednesday because
Mhm.
it's derived from Odin's Day and Odin's is pretty cool.
What if we just start naming the days of the week after people we like? Like Monday's
Ooh,
like Chef Day. Uh,
okay, but then I guess it would really be like it could show how you feel about certain people,
wait, is this
right?
going back to the MySpace like top nine?
Top five.
Like,
Well, because like, what
who's
if
your
you
top seven?
traditionally have hated Monday and then you're just like, why am
Oh,
I named after Monday? I thought, I thought we were cool, man. Like, and
it's
then
open to interpretation. It's open to interpretation.
fine, it's fine. Totally normal.
Oh, this is a total Bob day. That's it.
Oh, such a
Freaking
Bob day.
Bob. Bob day. Sorry for all Bobs that are listening here.
I'm not sorry,
She's not.
Bob.
She's not. Write a complaint down below if you have a problem with
That's
this.
right.
Um,
I'm not
I
going to be
am.
on this channel anymore. You can't
Yeah.
find me. Ha ha.
Yeah. Haha.
You complain to Gen Con. Your name is Bob.
I love that we're having this conversation around the holiday season because I think like the spirit and the idea of Halloween holidays,
Oh.
both all of it, is that we fully embrace a joyful spirit, and that has
Oh,
been your motto, like to be joyful. Why of all words out there, like I could open up a dictionary and find many words because that's
yeah.
what a dictionary is,
Eh,
and you could
nailed
have
it.
picked any of them. I know. Turns out one of us knows what a dictionary is.
Beck's a
But
teacher.
you picked this book, and you picked joyful
Yeah.
out of the thousands of words and even adjectives that could embody who you are. Why did you champion joyful gaming?
I feel like, first of all, I don't know, this is probably going to be a surprise to you, but the world is a dumpster fire.
What?
I know, it's a surprise.
That's why we have global warming.
That's right. Yeah, it's getting so warm. All the dumpsters in the world are on fire. Yeah, and I felt like one of the reasons that I like being at a table and one of the
Mhm.
things that I want to do at a table is I mean, it's escapism at its finest, right? Like sit down with the people that you love, tell a cool
Yes.
story, allow yourself to be vulnerable, like in eat I think that counts just as much for like being silly as it is about being serious because like allowing yourself to be silly in front of somebody I think is like a huge compliment of
Yes.
vulnerability. Like, I trust that I
Mhm.
can do this weird thing that I do and you will not leave, you know? And so I think that like I am I am always like seeking that joy as well as the fact that like that is something that I'm always striving for. I think we as humans really need those moments of joy and so
Yeah.
like I want to create an environment that's receptive to that. And I've been at too many tables where I'm just like, I'm not having a good time. Like this is not fun.
Oh.
For a multitude of reasons, you know,
Yeah.
whether it's like I don't know whose fault it is. I'm not necessarily like I did not
You can blame me.
gel with
Just
it.
put
It's
me in for
Beck's
this too.
fault for
Yeah.
everything. Even when she was not at that table. Um, But like, you know, if I didn't gel there and I would always leave that being like, it felt like work. And like, I don't want it to feel
Mm.
like work. Like, I want to come out just being like feeling lighter, even if it was a more serious game. And I think that's why I gravitate towards, you know, joyful. Also, like, just like
Mm.
cover myself in rainbows. Sometimes it's gross outside and you have to bring your own rainbow to it.
Um, you are a rainbow.
And I'm pretty
You are.
queer. I don't know
You
if you
are
know that.
just pretty queer. Also,
Pretty
there's
queer.
we can read it into it multiple ways, then it's
It's
all right.
layers.
You're like a rainbow onion,
I
right? Like
am. Or
there we have it.
parfait. Everybody likes
Or parfait.
parfait.
Everyone does love parfait.
Thank you,
These are
Donkey.
facts. Yes,
These
yes.
are facts. Mm.
Let's roll our first d6.
Yes.
I think it's time.
My hot
All right.
chocolate, by the way, is made
Mhm.
from Penzies.
Penzies.
Penzies is a 6.
I'm adding cayenne pepper to mine.
I'm adding so much whipped cream. Here we go. Cayenne
Go
pepper,
for it.
spicy
A
for
little
you.
little kick to it. I love a good little spicy hot cocoa. Yes. Yes. That's you have to do that with whipped cream. That's a rule.
This is my personal whipped cream now. I
Yes,
bought
it's
it fresh
yours.
for today. No one
That's
else can
good.
have it.
It's good. See, it's perfect.
Yeah, the amount of times though,
Mm.
speaking of rainbows, the amount of times that I have gone out and I often have rainbows on my nails. I have
Hmm.
rainbows in my hair. I have rainbows on
Yeah.
my body.
Hmm.
And the amount of times that people have been like, "Oh my God, I love it so much. I wish I could just do that." And I'm like, "You can. There is
Rare rainbows.
nothing stopping you from doing this."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
How do
under
you do it?
I don't
Where?
know.
It's
I
magic.
I feel like I understand that there are some jobs where you cannot
Yeah.
have nail polish because of
Yeah.
safety issue. Like, um, if you work in food service, you are not supposed to have polish on because it can hide things, and that's gross.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and I also understand that there are some jobs, although those jobs I think are shrinking, where you can't have unnatural hair color
Hmm. Yeah. More and
because
more.
obviously that impacts your ability to do your job.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. I just, when you have colored hair like yours, beautiful purple, you look too damn good to work,
Yeah.
you know?
I shouldn't have to do anything. People should just give me money.
That's how it works. That's
How it
how it
works.
works. But I think you're right. But I'm gonna give her this. Like it's a total silly and fair answer to be like, you can. It's and you and I both know this. Like society doesn't grow us or raise us as individuals who feel
Mm-mm.
comfortable being ourselves.
Yeah, it sucks.
It
S-
does.
Stupid
Like you
society.
you have to you grow up being young, exploring, dreaming big. I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm going to dye my hair this. I want to wear a unicorn outfit to school. And then people start to pressure you to start to fit in, dress
Mm.
this way, do these kind of jobs, talk this
Yeah.
way, right? This is the way we see the world. And then as an adult, either you choose that same pathway or you have to go through a whole new unbreaking process
Yeah.
to re-explore who you are. And you do this on a very public platform with role playing.
Yeah.
I really love that. But for you, why? Because there's a lot of games you could be playing. Like there's
Sure.
video games, there's other board games, right? Why specifically role playing? Like you are drawn to TTRPGs. Obviously, that's why Gen Con has loved the content that you've made and you've explored so many of them. But while we all benefit from you creating this content, what do you get out of when choosing a game like this to be able
Oh.
to embrace and understand yourself this way?
I get to just like live out all of my fantasies forever.
Fair.
Like, I recently found a solo RPG, which I'm super jazzed about, which
Ooh.
I'm actually recording solo for because that's one of the tiers that you can unlock in my upcoming Patreon is Sarah's journal, essentially,
Mhm.
which is like my all of my solo games.
Aw.
Um, but my favorite Miyazaki movie of all time is Kiki's Delivery Service. Um, and
Yes.
it took me a really long time to figure out why I loved it so much. I mean, it's beautiful. First of all, it's just like this beautiful pastoral thing, and it's about a teenage witch, and she's adorable, and like
Hmm.
all of the things that I love, right? But the whole message of the movie, because I have you seen the movie? No, it's okay. Listen, we're
I've
good.
seen, yes, I know the references. I've seen clips.
No,
Yes.
I love that I get to share this with you.
Yeah.
This is not a
Thank you.
shaming moment. This is a
Okay. Thank
excitement that you
you.
get to now understand this with me. Um,
Yes.
but the movie follows Kiki, who is a 13-year-old witch, and she leaves home because at 13, as a witch, you leave home and you find the town that you are supposed to be the witch of, that you are supposed to go it's like and it's also you figuring out if you want to stay a witch. Um,
Mm.
and I have always referred to it as her broomspringer because I'm ridiculous.
How
Um,
dare you?
I'm the worst. So she goes off to do this. She ends up in a big city. She takes her cat with her, who can talk and is adorable.
Hmm.
Can only talk to her. She's a witch. It's all
Makes
important stuff.
sense. Yes. Yes.
And she starts immediately working in this big city as a witch. And she's delivering from a bakery and she's doing all this stuff. And her powers start waning because she's getting burned out. She's
Oh.
putting too much of herself into it. And she ends up going in the middle off on this like she ends up in a cabin in the woods, like making art with a friend. And like when she comes back, her magic comes back to her. And like I was like, oh no, I love this movie because it is telling me that it is okay to step away from the things that you love for a little bit because they will still be there when you are ready to come back. And that if you put too much of yourself into it, that you end up losing it because you are holding on to it so tightly that it like consumes you. So I want to live in this movie for multiple reasons. And there is a solo journaling game called Carico that is a hugely based on like it drew a lot of inspiration from Kiki's Delivery Service, where
Mhm.
you are doing this and it is your journey. And so like anytime I pick up a ridiculous one-shot game or something like that, I'm getting to like explore that piece of me.
Mhm.
Like this is a thing that I've been drawn to. Maybe don't know why. Maybe I do know why. But
Yeah.
like I get to sort of live in that for a while. A lot of I have the Dark Crystal role-playing game. I have Labyrinth role-playing game.
Mhm.
Man, I just love all of it. It's
Yeah.
yeah, also like I want to be a Muppet. You know, there's just a lot of things that I would like to be in my
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
Um, but like I get to do all of these parts of me, and I've used it also as an exploration of all of like my queer identity and my feminine identity. There was a while when my oldest was identifying as non-binary, and during that time I ran Women Are Werewolves, which is about
Mhm.
being non-binary and how that affects you. And I think that is a really useful tool to be able to like put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and also, honestly, sometimes it's really fun to just like kick somebody.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I'm not
You
a
know,
violent person, but
no.
like
But to describe it's
sometimes
kind of fun.
punch, punch, punch. Sometimes you gotta punch.
Yeah, just a little, just a little. And then you can create like epic, whole fighting sequences in your brain. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
and like I want wings.
You can have wings.
You can have
Horns, you can
wings.
have horns. You want a tail? You want 9 of them? You can have all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, you are
All of
only
them.
limited by your imagination.
Yes. And the rules your DM might put in place. But yes.
If you are clever enough, you can find a way around all of those things.
Remember, TTRPGs are you versus the DM.
It's not verses. It is about compromise with your
There we go.
DM.
There we go.
You're
Because
telling the story together.
that's the fair pick, right? Like the idea, because we see sometimes problems on both players or DM side,
Yeah,
and it's often when, whether it's right or wrong, like each person has their own vision and it's unyielding.
right.
Hmm.
It is all about yes anding each other.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
It's just
That's
improv with dice. That's
impressive.
all we're doing.
It's a fun challenge. Now, you have played a lot of different systems in
So,
your life.
so many different
So
systems.
many. I don't even know if you could name all of them. Like I'm pretty sure we are well over the 150 mark
I would,
comfortably.
yeah, probably.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot.
Um, are there some that you are drawn to again and again that, I mean,
Mm.
when you go to it, you still, it's not just like, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I like the mechanics of it, but it's also the way that it allows you to play with others, right? Is there a system that you're like, listen, I think this is one that deserves a little more highlight?
Yeah. I mean, I am and will always be a champion of anything Grant Howitt.
Yeah.
Because thank you, Grant. You're the best. I just feel like I get how his brain works.
Hmm.
Or maybe his brain works the way my brain works. And so like I just feel like it's easy to like slip into it, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I think, and I haven't gotten to play it very much. I'm looking at all of my
Yeah, you've got your small
I
library over
just
here.
reorganized all of them and they're all right next to me. I haven't gotten to play it a lot,
Mhm.
but Wander Home and
Mm.
Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast are just like delicious little systems that I just want to like ingest. Um, that's
Worth it.
totally normal.
That is,
That is a normal way of describing something you're like,
I
I want
like
to
that
eat it.
though, because I think we forget that our creativity is it's a stomach and it needs to be fed, right? Like I
Yeah,
feel like we allow it to dry up and forget that it's there, but it's good to feed it, to give it a good, healthy appetite, to allow it to
yeah,
taste and try different things. Different
tasty.
things are going to be tasty to our creativity, our curiosity.
Yeah. I have to share. This is a
Yeah.
diversion. Let's go
Yeah,
off on a tangent, shall we?
go. Let's
Um,
do this.
are
Rabbit
you
trail.
aware of the book Where the Wild Things Are?
Yes.
Okay, so Maurice Sendak, one of my favorite stories about him is that he had gotten a letter from a kid because the kid like loved just it was his favorite book.
Oh yeah.
And so he
Aw.
wrote Maurice Sendak a letter. And and Maurice sent a letter back with like a little sketch of Max from Where
Aw.
the Wild Things Are. And then uh he got another letter back from the kid's mom, who was so embarrassed because the kid had eaten the sketch because he was just so excited to have it and he like didn't know how to like the and so he just like loved it so much that he ate it. Um, and in this interview, Maurice Sendak was like, "It is the highest form of
Yes.
like what an amazing compliment. Like I loved it so much, I needed it to be a part of who I
Yes.
am." Um,
Yes.
and that's sort of like how I see like it's just like I just want it to be
But
with me.
you
Nom
want to
nom.
experience it on multiple sensory levels. Like I feel like that's a kind of
Viscerally.
like sometimes when you go and you read a book and you want to see it played out with just music and soundtrack
Hmm.
that could go to it. Or yeah, you want to have a meal that's all inspired by the book.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I imagine like that it children like I think it's super adorable. But yeah, like the idea is like I want to take so much more a part of this because it has had a profound impact on understanding myself or feeling like
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not eating enough paper these
It's not
days.
eating enough illustrations. More art
Yes.
inside me. Um, yeah.
That's what we need to do. That is a
Also,
beautiful story.
I'm really interested in, I haven't gotten to play it yet. I have it on my shelf. Inspirails and Overiles
Hmm.
is an RPG that
Yeah.
uses sign language.
Mm.
Um, and it's a huge part of the game itself. And I just like
Yeah.
haven't gotten to do it yet, but I'm really interested in it. I
Mhm.
use I'm teaching myself sign. It is a slow process. For those
Yes.
of
We
you,
know cake.
yeah, cake,
Cake.
morning cake. That's important. That's all you need to know. Yeah, or can I have
Mm.
more morning cake, please?
These are the important things that we need
That's
to
all you
begin
need. That's
with.
all you need.
Yes.
That and
Yes.
like, where's the toilet? That's all you need.
That
That's
helps.
um but for I feel like I've been pretty open about chatting about it, but in case anybody who is watching this doesn't know, I have pretty severe hearing loss in my right ear. I have hearing aids. They're not in right now because I need these things in so I can hear.
Beauty.
It's because I need to be, just not, I mean, I could put these on with
Yes.
my hearing aids. Actually, exciting. There is a company that is
Yes.
called Deaf Metal
Why is
that
that the coolest name ever?
right? That makes jewelry that attaches to your hearing aids. And I just ordered one and I'm just it's gonna
I
be so
love
good.
that. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, but they make like ones that just hang down. They make ones that cuff to your ear.
Hmm.
If you're pierced, you can then like it'll be in a piercing and then like with a chain and with step.
Mhm. I love
Excited about it.
functionality meets beauty, right? Like when we need certain things, like let's think it already with glasses. Like we finally got to a point where glasses can have really cool, beautiful designs. They're a way in
Yeah.
which we can express our personality, right? They're not just things that says, look, you got bad eyes, right? Like I feel like hearing aids are in that next step. Or when we look
Yeah.
at canes, canes have
Mm.
personality.
Yeah, they do. And
Right.
like I have a couple of friends who need canes, but not all the time. And so their cane
Mhm.
is collapsible and they have like a holster on their side so
That's
that they can
cool.
carry it with them. And
Yeah.
it's a real pretty holster so that if they happen to need it, they can just
Yeah.
whip their cane out.
That's style. That's style. Meeting functionality, meeting what people need. I think that's such a smart thing.
Oh,
It now you even besides TTRPGs, you're somebody who I've witnessed experiences a lot of empathy for those around you.
yeah. I'm a
You
crier. It's a nice way of saying it, but I am a crier. I do that
wait,
a lot.
even beyond that, it's more than just that you feel for them, but you really try to understand the experiences of others. You also try to be an advocate for others. You try to create spaces for others, right? We kind of mentioned the world sometimes is a dumpster fire, and you bring a lot of joy beyond just being gaming,
Yeah.
right? And creating one, of course, your own stories that you've done or playing in others. But for you, right, you are also just a very good human, if
Oh,
I may be so
thank
bold.
you.
Um, I feel like that's not quite to the level I'm trying to help highlight to people who might be listening to this to say like you are very impressive in the steps and advocacy I see you take in both small ways, but also in your professional aspect as well. You are very committed to making sure that those around you not just feel loved, but they're also safe in these spaces. Can you tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about why you've been such a great champion? Because I feel like some people are like, yeah, you could do some basics, but you go above and well, I guess it's hard to determine like above and beyond, right?
It
Like
it
the
it
measurements.
doesn't feel above and beyond. I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm doing anything that everyone should not be doing.
Hmm.
Like I think that there's absolutely been a lot of there's a lot of stereotypes about like the old Grognard gamers and like
Yeah.
the typical to be quite blunt, like male old time gamer who is like, I know more than you do about everything and blah blah.
Hmm.
And I think that that is a stereotype because we've all run into somebody like that who
Hmm.
makes the table that you're in not feel comfortable or safe. And like I have been in a lot of situations in my life as a femme presenting person, as a smaller human, where I have just like not felt safe. I think I think you move through the world differently when you are not in a position of privilege. And I understand that there's a lot about what I am as a person that is highly privileged. I am Caucasian. That on its own comes with a lot of privileges that other people don't get. Um, but I'm also a small lady. And I'm also queer, openly queer.
Hmm.
And I think that you end up in spots where you're like, oh, I maybe have to hide a bit of who I am here because I should people shouldn't know, right? Or like being in a place where you're like, I should shield my children from this person. And I told myself a long time ago that like I was never going to be a person that anybody had to hide anything from. I did not want to be somebody that you could not be who you are authentically, completely in front of. Um, I think sometimes that means that I have like butted up against people that I'm like, oh, I don't think we're on the same page. But I mean, that's a good thing to know, right? Like,
Yeah.
I have worked really hard. I want my house to be the safe house. I want and my house meaning not only the physical dwelling, but like my space where I
Yeah.
am. Like I want you to feel comfortable here. And I mean, I think that the most like maybe one of the proudest moments that I have had at in the last couple of years was I was on a field trip,
Mhm.
was chaperoning a field trip to the Field Museum in Chicago, and they were like, we're gonna have you just be a floater, right? Just wander
Mhm.
around, make sure that everybody else is good because I was one of the last chaperones to be brought on. And I, at one point, turned around and I had all of the neurodivergent queer kids in a group. And they were like, we would like to be with you. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, like this
Yeah.
is
We're together. We're
thank,
together.
like, I
Yeah.
just like to be a trusted and known safe space is like all
Yes.
I've ever wanted for myself. And that sometimes sucks, you know, like that
Mhm.
means that you have to be the person that stands in between some people sometimes, and that's a emotionally heavy thing to do. But I would much rather do it, even if it's for a stranger, you know, than
Mhm.
let them have to deal with whatever it is.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm. These are all decisions that you make every single day, right? Like it's in small ways, like how do I make my house welcoming? How do I make this space, indicated that they can be themselves, that they can feel comfortable expressing who they are, or that they know that they can just talk openly about themselves and their
yeah.
lives, right? So what many people might feel like is a normal everyday thing that not everybody actually gets to experience
Yeah, yeah.
it, and it is it's a ton of micro decisions, but it stems from, right, your decision of who you want to be in this
Hmm.
space. You've grown up a lot within this TTRPG space, right? You're somebody I admire, you're very influential in this. What was it like when you were first getting into TTRPGs, right? uh,
Oh man.
did you have friends, maybe a Sarah in your life who were great shepherds or kind friends to offer a listening ear or support?
Um, I mean, I was introduced to it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Tell the story. My brother does not like it when I tell the story. But he used to play D&D, and he's 4 years older than me, and so
Okay.
he didn't let me play. I didn't get to play because it was no,
Boo.
I get it. He was a teenager. You don't want your your little kid sister around. Um, it's fine. But that was like something that like sparked my interest. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then I actually had a really awful experience with the first time I got to play
Really?
D&D. That was my very first one. It
Ah.
was the very first time that I was like, I maybe don't like this.
Yeah.
And it turns out I just had a really terrible DM. Just like this is a really bad DM.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was because he approached it as like, I know way more than you. So whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're doing it wrong because you don't know the book backwards and forwards, you know. Um, and so I walked away from that thinking like, okay, you know what? Maybe that's just not for me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, I was probably in my 20s. I mean, I think I was maybe
Mm-hmm.
like engaged at the time. Like I was an
Oh,
adult, you know?
yeah.
And then I kind of like walked away from it and then circled back with a different DM and was like, "Oh,
This is different.
okay. I understand now. It was different."
Yeah.
And I mean we had a group of friends who we gamed with for a really long time. And it
Yeah.
was like like one of them is my kid's godfather now. Like we just
Oh.
like
Yeah.
you know, you form those kinds of attachments, but I was the only girl for a really long time. Um,
Oh,
just because like
yeah.
there weren't any that I knew that wanted to. And then as I
Hmm.
got like after I had had kids and like we had been playing for a while, there would be like I jokingly said that I felt like I was the marijuana of gaming. Like I was the gateway drug
Kevin.
for so for so many of like my female friends who
Yes.
would like in hushed tones like they were saying something that they were like worried other people were gonna hear. And they would be
Yeah.
like, "What? Hey, do you think maybe I could come over and we could like try Dungeons and Dragons?" And I was always like, "Yeah,
Do you have some more
good.
dice I can
Hey,
have?
meet me in the alley
Please.
out back." Um, yeah, and so like we had a bunch that would like usher through, and some of
Yeah.
them stayed, and some of them still game, and some of them were like, "No, turns out it's not for me."
Mhm.
But I know a lot of theater people, and there's such a huge
Yeah.
overlap,
Oh,
just
yes.
massive overlap.
Yes.
The Venn
Like
diagram is basically a circle. It's
easily
just
shared interests.
yeah. And so there was a lot of that, like. And I sort of got this like excitement of like every time I got to like tell it to somebody else, like, "Ooh, we're gonna do it again."
Yeah.
And so I I feel like that sort of and like I've always kind of been like a teacher, like I was a Girl Scout leader and I was a preschool teacher, and like there's just like
Yeah.
and I'm a I don't know, a child a lot. I feel like I'm just like I get
But you get to
excited
experience
like a
that with them
kid.
again.
Yeah. And so
Yes.
like it's really fun. My oldest for his 19th birthday asked if I would run a 19th level D&D game
Ooh.
for him, and
Okay,
we
that's brilliant.
it was dope. And we did it, and it was with both my kids and my husband, and then
Aw.
like
So
my
cute.
adult gaming group because they were like so jazzed about it. And we've been playing with this exact same group for no change for the past like almost decade. Like so I
That's
think the
amazing.
most recent person who was added was like 7 years ago. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and it was the husband, now husband of one of the other members, who after like we had been playing for a couple years with her was like, "Do you think I could bring my boyfriend next time?" I was like, "Yes."
Yes.
um,
Yes.
yes, and yeah, it's great. But like we like every time I get to like be at a table doing
Mhm.
something ridiculous, there's always going to be some sort of shenanigans. I just get excited when there's like new people together. I'm just like, what are we going to do? And like the idea of like
Yeah.
putting people together of like, I know how you play and I know how you play, and I think you would be really fun at the same table, like with this particular system, which I think is really like an exciting thing that I have done that I get to do on
Yeah.
Sarah's table is like I found this new system and I know exactly who I'm going to ask to come play it. Um, because they all have different
Yeah.
tones and like
Hmm. And what you think is going to be playing into the strengths and the gameplay desires that
mhm.
people have. You really are a bit of a matchmaker. Like, I feel like if you were like, I want to get my friend a TTRPG for Christmas, they're like, Dear Sarah,
Yeah,
this is the few details about my friend. Here are games that
man.
they've played and they liked, and here's some they didn't. What TTRPG system do you recommend for them?
Yeah, I have definitely there've been a couple times that people have said like I want to get my friend into RPGs,
Yeah.
but I don't know where to start because they're not D&D. And I'm like, tell me their interests. I bet there is one exactly like that. I mean,
Hmm.
I played a game called Midwestern Moms, where you are a mom on a cul-de-sac.
Oh, that's
And
there's some drama that can happen there.
yeah, oh, big drama.
Mysteries.
Huge
Oh,
drama. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
And so like I
Is the enemy
loved
the
that.
HOA?
It might be.
I need to play this.
Everyone's enemy is the HOA.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, like and the idea that like you're in or your friends in if you're trying to like
Hmm.
bamboozle somebody into coming with you on this journey,
Yeah.
is you just like find their thing. What's your
Yes.
thing?
What's your
Now I'm
thing?
gonna have you play that.
Yes.
And then once they get that taste,
Why do you sound like a conniving mastermind right now,
yeah.
the way you're talking about this?
It's because I need to figure out how to get everybody more joy.
You will have joy.
You're gonna have
Take
so much
it.
fun. Deal with it.
I love it.
Yeah, I just like ominous positivity. It's gonna happen. Um, I just think like it's in there for everybody because
Yeah.
it's plain pretend. And we all
Yeah.
did that as kids. And then you get to a point where society was like, it's time to grow up. Stop doing
Yeah.
that. And I think that's bullshit. And so I refuse and I will do it forever.
Yeah.
And I will find a way
Hmm.
to let other
To make
people
it
do
happen.
it.
Yes. 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 Let us roll another D6 in honor of that
In
as
honor
you
of that,
bring joy to everyone.
show it to
Okay.
everyone. Four.
I am adding an orange flavor.
Ooh. Um,
Chocolate and orange is a good combo
it
flavor.
is excellent. I just
Hmm.
got the most amazing recipe for candied orange slices that have been dipped in chocolate, and I am
Ooh,
gonna make it. Very excited.
I think that is the right amount of ounces.
I have,
You need to share with me how that recipe goes
yeah,
because you are also very good at making things, not just in your brain,
I
but
have,
also.
I have, um, I have that queer audacity of just
Hmm.
like, I
Hmm.
bet I could figure that out.
Like, I should just try that. You
Let's
watch
give
it
it
on
a shot.
TikTok or Instagram. You're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
I have to tell you that I have discovered, though, that I will never ever be
Yeah.
good at gardening. I'm bad at
Okay.
plants. I'm very bad at plants. I'm a black thumb bisexual. I kill them all.
Sexual.
I just kill
Listen,
all of them.
you are a bit of a mind reader because that was my next question. I was like, there's you're too perfect, Sarah, and yet somehow you haven't managed to rule the world. What's holding you back?
Just kill all the
Plant
plants.
killer is
I can't help it. I
that's
want
that's
so
the
much to be like
restriction.
a garden witch, and I am just not.
Not.
Like,
But
and
kitchen witch is great.
yeah, kitchen witch is good.
Yes,
Um,
I feel like RP is also like illusionary magic.
mm-hmm. Can see
So
that.
that's those are two good categories.
I'm pretty witchy.
Yeah.
In general, I have a lot of tarot cards. I have a shelf
Hmm.
full of different tarot cards.
Yes, good to have
Um,
options.
yeah,
The right deck
some
has to speak to you.
there's different. I have oracle ones. I do a lot of language of flowers things. Um,
Ooh.
I'm super fascinated by we're just getting into all my weirdness.
Yes.
By the language of flowers. Like there is a specific you used to build a bouquet
Yes.
by
That have
what you wanted
messages in
to
them.
communicate to the person that you were
Yes.
giving. A part of that was like for safety. That was a big Victorian thing that they did was like because then you could communicate to somebody how you were feeling without
Hmm.
like confessing it openly or whatever. Part of that was for safety for queer folk, that
Mm.
you could still get a message to somebody of the same sex that you were
Oh.
interested in a way that would not make you a target.
Hmm.
Um, but I have done a lot of naming of characters after what the flower means.
Mm.
Um,
Give us a taste. Come on.
yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
pop quiz.
no, pop quiz. This is one that I have for a new campaign that is going to be on my new
Ooh.
channel.
Okay.
Um, Damon Van He is running it, and it is a D&D
Love that.
setting, but it is called the Green Heart Cluster, which is a fully homebrewed setting. I am playing a mimic, which is very exciting because
Okay.
we've made this up. She can turn into furniture. Um, I can't wait.
Wait.
She sleeps as a treasure chest
So mimics are playable characters.
in this setting, yes.
And like, so like there's different like, okay, so like, okay, mimics, right? There's druids, there's paladins, like so mimics also have to choose specialties. So yours is
Uh,
furniture.
yeah, I'm a mimic rogue because I was like, what better to do than to have a thief who can literally turn into the furniture if somebody
That's
comes
fair.
into a room?
That's fair. That is a very good
I'm
point.
just a chair. Nothing to see here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but her name is Galanthus, which is the technical term for snowdrop, which snowdrops are
Oh.
one of the very first um one of the one of the very first things that bloom after the winter. And they're called snowdrops because they often will push through that last snowfall and they'll be blooming through it. And so they mean hope. Um, and so like she, she's got a lot of trauma in her backstory. But she lives with hope that she will find her family again, that she will find love, that she will find herself. And so her name is Galanthus because she is hope. Also, then when she sleeps, she
Hmm.
turns into a little hope chest. And I think that's funny and ridiculous.
Can't wait to unbox all of that.
Aha! The best unboxing.
But I love this, right? Even just hearing this small snippet of your character, we get a sense of like the playfulness, the silliness, the heart, the depth that you bring to each of your stories. And I think
Oh,
that shows
thank
like how you also understand humans. Like when we build characters out, it also shows our understanding of like how we see the depth of others, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we see what are variables in which we look and try to understand other people? And you kind of notice this like with new players, like, right, we understand ourselves by our job that we do. So they start off with the class. And in real life, we mimic that a
Yeah,
lot. Like, what do you do? That's often like the first question. And that's how we remember people, how we categorize them. But
yeah,
then we start to get deeper and thinking, like, well, what are the ways that they talk? What kind of relationships do they favor? How do they handle conflict? Right. And now we
yeah,
start to understand human behavior with so much more nuance and um, factors in the
yeah.
midst of it all.
Yeah, and like
Because
you end up introducing yourself by the not by the thing that you think is most important,
Mhm.
but by the thing that you think they will think is most important.
Yes.
Which is often why it's job first.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's like a really interesting like I try to break myself out of that often when I'm introduced to new people. Like what is appropriate for this setting? I mean, it's sort of code switching a little bit,
Yeah.
right? That you get into a spot where you're just like, okay, well, I am at a convention and these
Yep.
are all content creators or these are all RPG industry people or whatever, where these are just all like nerds. How do you want to present yourself?
Hmm.
And if none of that was if you were introducing yourself in a vacuum, like how would you want
Yep.
people to remember you, right? Like
Yes.
we're getting
Yes.
deep and reflective today.
But it's hard, right? Like, because sometimes people only have snapshots. And so you think, like, do I play this game? Do I
Hmm.
use it as a chance to express myself? And even then, it's trying to figure out, like, how do I express myself in a way that feels reflective of me, but that they're gonna understand?
Yep.
And it ain't everything. Like, we get these opportunities a lot, like, yeah, at conventions or when we meet new people. I was just thinking, I'm trying to remember my bio. For Twitter, I used to have in my bio where it was just like a weird human, and that's all I put.
Hmm.
And then I started to get the sense that people were not reaching out to me because they didn't know what I did and didn't know how to interact or what do I do? How do I hire a weird human? So I had to start putting in job titles so that way people knew how
Yeah.
to interact with me. Like we don't hire a weird human to host. We hire a
You
host to host.
should.
Right. Well, I'm right. That's what I'm saying. Like
Like
that sounds like a fun risk to
that's
take.
who you want is as a host is a
Yeah.
weird human for sure. I think mine for a long time on Twitter was mom nerd magical little forest creature is how I it might still be. I don't touch it.
Great choice. No, we don't care about Twitter now. And we're not gonna call it X.
Maybe the only thing I will dead name is Twitter.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
That and because I am from Chicago, I'm so sorry, everyone, but it will forever be the Sears Tower and it will be forever be Comiskey Park. And so those are the three things in
Yeah.
life that I will dead name.
Yep. Yes. 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 Capitalism buying things does not make us believe new names. Sorry. It's not happening.
Stupid, stupid Twitter.
But let me keep this open then.
Yeah.
Right? How would you describe yourself to us?
Woof. That's
Yeah.
big.
I imagine this is going to be a big playground. You can wander around this. And I also want to clarify to those listening while you're thinking about this.
Yeah.
This is definitely something that is and will change, right?
Hmm.
Defining yourself in such an open answer like this, like it could change on a day by day basis. And I think that's the beauty and opportunity that we should give each other
Hmm.
as we learn to understand. And that should encourage us to reach out to those that we care about to continue to want to learn them and who they are day by day. So,
Yeah.
Sarah, teach
I
me.
know that
Who
what I
who
would
is this?
like to be remembered as,
Yes. Ooh, okay. Legacy speaking here.
yeah, I would like to be thought of as, I mean, I feel like we've kind of already talked about it, but I
Yeah.
would like to be thought of as a safe place,
Hmm.
someone who is so comfortable with their authenticity that it allows you to be comfortable with your authenticity. Um, I would like to be thought of as a a like a comfortable ear that you can talk to, and probably somebody who just like makes a lot of kick-ass desserts. That's also good. I like that one.
I love that. I
Hmm.
love that. So far, checklist on all of those successfully. So,
Success.
yes, you're
Yes.
winning at life.
Yes. I also try to pick a guide word. I don't like
Hmm.
New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
I think New Year's resolutions, in my experience, for me,
Hmm.
um, are designed for me to fail at.
Fair.
I feel
Fair.
like because there's a lot of like big resolutions, right? That the people that like the classic ones of like I'm gonna get in shape and I'm gonna save this much money. I'm gonna like you. It's so hard to do
Yeah.
all of those things.
Yes.
Um, and I don't ever want to go into something that I feel like is set up to fail. And so I try to pick guide words
Mm.
um of like every decision that I'm going to make this year or try to is going to sort of head back to that guide word. And so
Mm.
2024 was recenter um
Ooh.
because I just felt like there had been a ton of changes for me in the previous couple of years with the pandemic and like where I was at in my career and a lot of things when my kids are now at an age where they're basically adults. Like it's very, things are different now and for me.
Oh.
And so I wanted to like recenter.
Yeah.
And so I tried to keep that in mind whenever I was making big decisions, whether they were business or personal, of like, I did a
Mm.
lot of like medical stuff this year of like, okay, we need
Yeah.
to figure this out and like sort of bringing it back to myself. And so I think for 2025, I really feel like I would like my guide word to be um, creativity.
Mm.
Um, because I feel like I worked so hard this year that, and the last couple of years really, that I feel like a lot of that has sort of fallen off for me. Like,
Mhm.
I just recently was able to like, and I had to force myself to do it, to start like reading books again just for pleasure. Because I love reading books. I love
Mm.
telling stories, which means inevitably I love reading stories. But like,
Yeah.
I didn't have time. I wasn't allowing myself the time for it. And since I like made that decision in like mid-October, I've ripped through like 7 books. Because I've just
Whoa.
been like read, 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 read.
Overachiever here. Come
I
on.
know. But I want to share that with people. And so I
Yeah.
have a stack of books as I'm finishing books. I have them in a stack as gifts for people. I'm gonna send them
Oh.
out. We're sharing.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of it with me for creativity for this coming year is like consuming things that help me feel creative as well as doing things that help me feel creative. So that's out there. Also, an ongoing thing that I like to do and I've been trying to do is once a month. I'm going to
Okay.
continue this in 2025.
Yes.
Once a month, I would like to eat a kind of food that I have never eaten before that is like authentic to whatever country. Like
Yeah.
I would like to go to a Nepalese restaurant,
Yeah.
have food from Nepal made by people from Nepal. Um,
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
try all the different stuff because food is
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Um,
It's another form of creativity. It's an art form.
yes. And it is one that you are supposed to eat and not, you know, some regular paintings.
Oh, well, if you want to eat paintings or sketches, that's like a great little one-off
Fine.
gift to yourself every
Once in
now and
a
then.
while.
Every now and then. Instead, maybe actual edibles inspired by said art might be better. And
Fine.
people's
Ugh.
cultures, history is art. There's stories that are worth devouring as well.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in Australia, I went down this
Or
little
pack
alley.
sauce.
Yay, pack sauce. It if it had been in Chicago, I would have referred to it as a murder alley. Um, because I could reach both sides with my I'm not very I don't have a large wingspan.
Yeah.
It was very narrow. I could reach both sides with it.
Okay.
Um, and
Cozy.
I went down this tiny little alley and it opened up into a courtyard.
Ooh.
And there was a Chinese Australian museum there. And then there was
Oh.
a Nepalese restaurant like tucked into
Yeah.
the back of this little alley.
You're like, I
Um,
found a gym. Here's a tiny world existing back
yeah.
here.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And the food was amazing. And I have tried to also, while I am at each place where I'm like, I'm going to try this food, I'm going to order the things that I don't know about. I usually, whoever is with me, I'm like, you order something different so we can both eat it
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
want to share.
Yes.
Um,
It's about trying new things. I don't need
exactly.
every piece of it. I just want enough of
I
it to
just want
try.
to try. Yeah. And
Yes.
then I
Yes.
also get some sort of specialty drink that they have and not necessarily alcoholic, but just like, what is it?
What's a
You
soda
have
you have that we
you
don't
have
have? Yeah.
something on this menu that like
Yeah.
I have never heard of. Tell me about it. That looks amazing. Give that to me. And so like I really love that bit of discovery and I try to put that into stories that I am also
Mhm.
telling. Like that sort of like little like all of those things are pieces of you and
Yeah.
like, you know, I'm it's just like I will never forget that little tiny like I should not have it didn't feel like I should be back here. But like what a
Y-
cool thing that I found.
It was like the opposite of getting murdered.
It was
So,
the opposite of murder.
I
What is the opposite of murder?
don't know. Giving hugs, that sounds
Nepalese
like
food.
Nepalese food. Yes. Yes. That checks. That sounds accurate to me.
They should have that on their business card.
Speaking of adding to our flavor, let us roll another die.
Smart.
I get more
Three.
cayenne pepper.
Oh
I'm
no.
also gonna just add in my peppermint stick for my own preferences.
I got little tiny marshmallows.
Ooh, you got a better flip than me. I'm gonna add, I'm like, I need something sweet to balance all of this a little heat that I'm adding in here.
Whoops.
It's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
love danger. I love danger. But I like
Walk on
this
the wild
because
side.
I think the more that you explore creativity, it
Mm-hmm.
adds to the other creative projects that you're taking. Like as you did the deep dive into flowers and
Mm-hmm.
understanding their meaning, um, it's been something that has added flavor to your own storytelling and the
Mm-hmm.
characters you build and what you hope for them. So there's
Um,
a lot behind that. If it not just even as a storyteller, but as a person, like as you enrich your taste buds, as you enrich your storytelling, you are enriching who you are as a person. You are a very
Let's
rich
hope.
person.
Let's hope.
That's the goal. We're testing this out. You
Giving it a
are,
shot.
yeah. We'll see if this comes true. I feel pretty confident in this hypothesis. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I
mhm.
also feel like not only are you made up of all of the stories of your experiences, but you're
Yeah.
also made up of like all of the experiences that you've had with people that you love,
Mm,
throughout your lifetime. Like
yeah.
there are, for the longest time, um, I used to reread uh the Chronicles of Narnia in the fall,
Mm. Oh.
because like one of my really good friends did that, and I started doing it with her. And like I don't even talk to her anymore, but it's just like
Yeah.
a very
It
sort of
unites.
formative. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or just like there's a band that I love because it was my first love's favorite band when we were together.
Mhm.
And that ended badly. Um, but because we were young
Yeah.
and stupid, like it's different. But like that is like so much a part of who I am now because of that kind of experience that happened
Yeah.
during that time. And like it's just like all these little pieces, like you're like a mosaic of all
Hmm.
of the people that you have loved in your life.
Mm.
And like
Ooh.
that is what we should all be drawing on when we're telling stories. Like if we that's what I'm hoping to try to always bring to the table, is like this like all these little fingerprints of all of the people who have shaped me. Um Hopefully
Wow.
that I have put, I'm hoping to also like give my fingerprints to other people as we're going. Like I would love to
This
have
looks like
like
a crime scene. Yeah. No, I get it. But yeah.
exactly.
But I want to highlight that one so that way I remember it because I think it's such a beautiful way to describe just the webbing of connections we have with one another, to be able to see ourselves as this mosaic of the people we've loved.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's so important because it's especially since the pandemic, right? It's been easy to isolate ourselves, or we're in a Western culture. It really favorites individual takes, and
Sure.
individualism can be great, and it's not that it's bad, but we don't often seem to see that as a high degree of value.
Yeah. But like,
But it is.
and I,
It's
I think it's part of, I mean, I'm a very emotional person just
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was kind of embarrassed by that. I feel things really deeply. And society doesn't like that,
Hmm.
often. But like, I have really learned to embrace that about myself. I don't
Yeah.
like to consider myself sensitive because that has such a negative connotation. But like, I feel all the things real
Hmm.
deeply, and they're all right here. Most of the time, they shoot out of my eyeballs forcefully. I cry at
Everyone's gonna know
at
this.
everything. Um, Happy, sad, angry.
Yeah.
All of it has tears. But like, I think that because of that, it has allowed me to form such deep attachments. Um,
Mhm.
and have like sort of experiences that have a depth to them that like I think not everybody, but like some people don't allow themselves to like open up in that way. And I hope that like having these kinds of experiences with other people and being very open about it allows them to see that it's like it's not going to break you, like
Yeah.
I think society has said like you should be strong. Like,
Mhm.
b b
Yeah.
don't,
Unbreakable.
yeah,
I
don't
am
show
a
me.
shield.
Yeah, but like, I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything wrong with feeling sad. Like, feel things. And
Yes.
when things end, I'm sad about it. And like I allow myself to feel those emotions because I don't want them to live in there, you
Hmm.
know? Like they should just, we're not gonna shove them all down there until they're
Yes. Yeah.
like this impacted ball of emotion in there. Um,
But they're a voice in and of itself,
yeah,
trying to tell you and give you clues of like, here's what's going on. They're informative, they're valuable, they're part of who you are. Are
yeah.
they always intelligent? Sometimes mine are getting better at it, right? Like we
We're
work
doing
and we
our best.
understand. We're doing our best. But a lot of them, when we improve our way in which we understand our emotions and how we express them and understand it, emotions are an important part of our intelligence of
Yes.
who we are, how we interact with one another, the decisions we make, right? The relationships we build. It's so valuable. And I love that you're open with that. And I think that's also what makes you very good as a role player. I think people might watch your whether you as a character or the stories that you lead or the stories that you write and they go, I want to do that. And they go into and they just describe only the big epic moments. Like they want to look like the cool big badass at the end of the day.
Which is
Um,
great. I
which
love
is
that
great.
too. That's
But
important.
like it's you climb the mountain, but you've only started at like a very safe level and you've gone up a little
Hmm.
versus when you explore the full terrain of emotions,
Yeah.
that peak or those lows, right? It's not that the lows are bad, it's just like the valleys are beautiful.
Yeah.
Canyons are gorgeous. They're terrifying sometimes. They're very
Sure.
deep.
Yeah.
Um, but they're still valuable explorations. And by being able to do all of them, you get new ideas of how to understand and compare. It's richer of an environment to live
Yeah.
by exploring all those
Well, and
emotions.
also like I think, and I try to do this in a lot of stories that I tell, as well as whether I'm a player in it or I'm
Hmm.
GMing or whatever. But like life is lived in the quiet moments. You know,
Mm.
there are more quiet moments, there are more small moments than the big epic I stabbed the villain
Yeah.
kind of moments. And like those
Yes.
are great moments and very
Yeah.
worthy of being highlighted, obviously. Um,
Yes.
but like there are so many moments um that happen just with like one or two other people that are wildly impactful. And if you think about your own life, that's true. Like those are the things that stay with you, for whatever reason. Like they're little, they're tiny moments. And I think that to make your story rich, I'm always trying to give people those small moments, because I think so many things can be informed character wise, relationship wise, if you just like put two people in front of a campfire and
Yeah.
give them bad news. Not big bad news. Not
Yeah.
like, you know, the kingdom is
And
dead or whatever.
ruins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like something small like, you know, one of the characters is gonna miss something important to them.
Hmm.
Like you're not gonna be there for your sister's birthday because we're off on this thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, give people space to talk about that.
Hmm.
How do you comfort somebody who's upset? Like, these are the quiet human moments that like people need
Hmm.
to have.
Yeah.
Um, and if you think about it, like all of your relationships in life, the good ones, the lasting ones, are
Yeah.
made up of the people who will like, I'm having a horrible day. So you came over and sat on my kitchen floor with me because that's all I could do.
Hmm.
Um, it's not a big grand gesture. And I think that a lot of times when we are telling stories at the table, we're trying to make it all big grand gestures. And like, how incredibly impactful is it if you say, like, I'm gonna hug that person.
Yeah,
You say that at the
that's it.
table, and people are like, "Oh, yeah,
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 that's
that's
important.
great. Do that. That's really good." You know, like it just sort of like,
But it gives the idea that you aren't the main character of everyone's story. Like when we
correct.
try to problem solve other people's issues instead of allowing them that own growth,
Mm,
especially if they don't ask for help, right? Like we're like,
yeah,
here's what you need to
I
do.
just fix it for you. Yeah.
Let me just tell you. I've got this handled. And if that comes from a place where they're just skipping steps for you,
Uh,
that's not allowing you to live your story. They're
yeah.
just trying to be their own hero in their version only. And that's what, TTRPGs give us a chance to explore of like, I can't solve this other person's issue. How do I be a good support?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the
Mhm.
things in our home game, my husband Jeff is the DM, and something that I love that he does is he does seasons of our game, and
Mhm.
each season is based on a different character story. Um
Mm.
and it lets you have big hero moments.
Yeah.
Um but like this season that we are doing right now is not my story.
Mhm.
It's not mine. It's somebody
But it's still
else's.
fun and you still show
I'm
up,
still
right?
having a great time. I'm still really enjoying
It's
it.
amazing.
But like it is I mean it's so very focused on this other person because that's where we're at, you know, and there's six of us in the group and we have done this is the third season of
Mhm.
this particular arc that is going to be for all of us. And so like you know, we just went through a couple where and we're building stories throughout and building relationships and doing all of this stuff and like um I think it is such a great exercise and like what a wonderful thing for me to be able to still be a part of that is not all about me. Sometimes that can be
Mhm.
like exhausting to have it all about you all the time. Like I just want to
You have less risk, actually, is kind of the nice part. It's
Oh
like, this
yeah,
is just, it's their story. That's
it's yours.
great. The decisions are up to you to make, and I'm here to
Yeah.
say everything that I can to help you in that process.
We're in
That's
the
it.
middle of an old west kind of themey town.
Ooh. Okay.
It is great. It's called this arc is this particular chapter of this arc is called Hangman's Rhapsody, and we're just like there's
Perfect.
at night apparently zombies come through. Listen,
That sounds fun.
I found a gun. I'm really excited about it.
Got an old revolver. I don't know a lot of different types of guns. That
Yeah,
was the first thing I could
it's an
think of.
old gun. It is like, and it used to apparently belong to the sheriff who is mysteriously gone, and I can't wait to see what happens. Maybe he's a zombie. I don't know.
Maybe, or you'll find him and he's safe, or he's not safe. There's a lot of options.
Yeah, we hung out at the gambling den in our last in our last session, and I'm playing a Tabaxi monk, and I broke the ring toss table because I
So strong.
like rolled a crit, and he was like, "I don't have any money left," and I was like, "Sucks then. What are you what are you doing?"
I
Um,
deserve something. Come on.
give me more. Yeah, but I just think like have those I don't even know where I'm going with this. I just like the quiet moments are like I think
Yeah.
so important, you know? Like
There's equal amount of joy and blesses to be when you are the main character and when you are the support character, whether
absolutely.
in role playing or in real life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of times I would so much rather in real life especially would so much rather be just like the support character.
Do you ever just
Because
like, who's writing this story?
yeah,
Like, come on here.
who's in charge of this? Um because I feel like when you're the main character, you're the one that gets put through all the trials and stuff. I don't want the trials.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, thank you.
What if I could just be I'll just be the safe space for you. Come on over.
Yes. Yeah. Come on, hang out with me.
I
Be like
just
the secondary support. Like,
yeah.
especially sometimes I look at actors like the main cast, like they often get like, okay, now you are this character. But like the supporting cast, they can be in all the
They
movies.
can be everyone.
they could be everyone, right? Like they get to experience all the stories and all the worlds, but they don't get stuck in one because people only remember them. Like that's the role I'm envious
I
of.
think
That's where I want to
the
be.
best one, the best person as an
Yeah,
example of that is Mark Shepard. Mark Shepard is in all of my favorite franchises as a recurring character, but is not always in it all the time.
I
Um,
am now Googling.
he was in Leverage, he was in Warehouse 13, he was in Firefly,
Yes,
he was in Supernatural, he
Battlestar
Battlestar
Galactica.
Galactica. Yeah, yep. He's
Yes,
just in
yes,
everything. He just
yeah.
shows up and is a cool recurring character, shows up a couple of times a season, and then he's
Hmm.
gone. And then
Yeah,
he's off doing all the other things. I would like to be Mark Shepard.
fantastic. Okay,
I would
that's
like to
fair.
Mark Shepard in everybody's lives, where I just
Yes,
show up
yeah.
and have some fun and I'm cool, and then I leave. Then I come,
Peace out.
yeah,
Peace out.
bye. Alexa,
Listen,
stop.
I hear you, but also I am loving the Sarah story. You've done a lot. You are going
Really,
through a
it's a
lot.
weird. I have a
It,
weird
you, you
collection of
handled,
things that are my
yes,
life.
you've handled a lot of challenges well, but you've also done a lot of amazing
Oh,
accomplishments.
thank you.
I mean, we could of course speak more on like how you've impacted people, how you've created safe spaces, how you've highlighted um a lot of TTRPGs, especially individuals that are indie who are starting out, who are trying to get out there. You've welcomed a lot of people into this space, but also you are quite accomplished yourself as an actor, a performer, a writer, right? You've published a few. Can we get some actual physical showcase of some of your work? I know it's there and I would
Here,
like to
I
see
do
it.
have some. Um,
Da-da-da.
I did some writing for the Vanishing Lands. I did some
Beautiful.
the little fiction pieces that are in here
Hmm.
are all written
Hmm.
by me.
Hmm.
Um, this is a very fun game. We should play it.
Yes.
Everyone
Yes, we
should buy
should.
it.
Yes.
My partner made this.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, let's see. Can I reach the ground? Can I do it?
Reach it. I love the
I can
crown.
do it. I can do it.
It has been a long time since we played on stream with it.
I know. Do we have
Too
the
long.
crown? I helped design this game where you get to be a god, and surprising no one, when I in our recurring game, I play the god of joy. Surprise.
What? Never saw that
Yeah.
coming,
In the book, there's a illustration of me as the god of joy.
which I love. I
Um,
adore. When will you cosplay
I
this?
really want this dress. I need to make it
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
My familiar is a sentient rainbow named Bo. Sometimes I wear her like a scarf or a belt. Sometimes she floats above my head. Um,
I see.
she's the best. But yeah, so the crown, I did this. Um,
I
I
did this.
I did this. Um, I also have done a lot of like I originated a character for the Demon Hunters world called
Hmm.
Wen, who is a succubus. Who has a succubus or immortal, which is selfishly the best kind of character to be in anything because
Hmm.
I could put her in any time period and live out whatever fantasy I would like in that time period.
Exactly.
But there's a short out that I have. I have written a couple of things about her that are published on the internets. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, she's fun.
Hmm.
And she's pink or just a pink succubus.
Of course.
Um,
Of course.
pink queer succubus.
Yeah. No, we
I
love it.
mean,
Why
surprising
not?
everyone again.
You're like,
Um,
but succubus isn't pink.
oh, but they
Oh yeah, I
are.
forgot about this made up creature. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, and I did like I've just been I write a lot of stuff. I
You do.
just like have a bunch of I have a Ko-fi where I've written some poetry. I also sometimes do poetry that I make like art pieces out of with like watercolors that I make and then I put it on top. I've gifted that to a lot of people.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I, as a person, am always like, I don't know if you want this. I made it.
Hmm.
It felt correct to give to you, but like also you don't have to have it because
Yes. Yes.
because
But
as an artist of any
mhm.
kind, imposter syndrome is the largest.
Mm,
I have
yeah.
my
Is
son
this
is
good?
very good at art, and
Hmm.
every time he shows me something that he has made, he's always like, I'm not happy with this part of it, and like points at the thing that he doesn't feel like was as good as he wants it to be. And I'm always like,
Okay.
it's so great. And he's like, no, I didn't have the right tools for this part, or I'm not happy with how this thing did. And I'm always just like, it's so good. Shut up.
Hmm.
But then it's so hard for me to do the same thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
something and they're like, it's great. And I'm like, nah, it could have been better.
Just shut up.
I know, just shut up. But it's hard to
It is.
get it. Yeah, there's that the little voice.
It's a
Like
terrible little
this, apparently.
voice.
It's a
Yeah.
puppet.
Yes. Yes. Maybe if you actually make it as a small little sock puppet, it'll be easier
Oh,
to like, no, we're just gonna put you away in a little
yeah,
box.
yeah. Just picture it as like a little
Yeah.
Muppet creature.
Give it a little physical manifestation here,
Hmm.
and then it can be easier perhaps to control.
Yeah, I also feel like imposter syndrome puppet would probably like have one of its eyes kind of falling off a little bit.
Yes.
Like, and then you could
Yes.
be like, look how raggedy you are, though.
Yeah. No, I
Maybe,
don't. Why am
you
I
know.
listening to you? Like, let's see if we can get your act together first. Plus, it makes
Yeah,
it easier to talk back to, right? Instead of just the voice
totally.
in your head where it just replaces your own voice, now
Yep.
you can have words with it.
Just yell at it. And then
Oh,
people will come in and I'll be yelling at my hand and they'll be like, yeah, no, that seems right. That's
yeah. No, no, it's normal. No one's gonna bat an eye on
what's
that. That's
happening
okay.
over here.
Good things, actually. She's figuring things out. We're proud of it. Let the process work. Just shut the door when the voices stop, then you can go back in.
That's right. Just maybe like bring her some cake, you know?
Yes, yes. But
Morning
like that's the
cake.
important part where we take the voices out of our head and we
Hmm.
put them somewhere else. Like whether it's dangerous or not. Like I know what developers do this with their little rubber ducky where they gotta like I gotta explain the code to this rubber ducky, and by
Uh-huh.
saying it out loud, now I know I'm I didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Yep.
But I like the idea that the imposter syndrome is only like the leftover sock. Like even its partner was like,
Oh
this
yeah.
isn't
There's
good for
probably like
us.
a hole in the end too. Like
Yes,
it's not
yes.
even.
Yeah, like it was either going to be a rag sock or it's now this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it's just the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Beep, beep, beep. Also, I just did my nails again.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That
It's
reminds me of another phrase you say, like be art.
oh yeah. Keep keep making art and keep being art.
Every time I
Yeah.
see your nails or your hair or like even like how you've styled yourself today, I'm like,
Oh, it's so
Sarah is
Christmassy.
art. Yeah,
Slay
you're supposed to
what?
lean into it. But you are. Like and I love the nails. Show those off again because
Oh
they're
yeah.
always beautiful. You have always such
It's Christmas time, so I did pink and gold sparkles because I needed the sparkles.
yes. Yes, we do. We all need the sparkles.
Sparkles.
Yes. But how did you come up with that phrase? Because I love it. I think
Mm.
of that now more often because I'm thinking like it changes the way in which you understand yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it is just a reminder that like everything you do is a reflection of yourself, right? This is
Hmm. Yeah.
it's um it's all I mean it's all part of that mosaic, right? Like it's all of
Hmm.
the things that you are projecting out into the world and like I think the world could use more beauty and more art. And so like I try to remind myself that like all the stuff I'm doing is impacting other people. It's affecting other people. It's affecting my children and my partners and my parents and my friends and hopefully the community of folk that we have established here, you know. So like if you can if you can continue to put things out into the world that you are wanting to receive back, I think that's part of
Yeah.
it. But also like to remind you that you should be treating yourself the way that you would treat art. You know, like
Protected
We
and behind guards.
exactly. So like a velvet rope in front of me at all
Yes.
times.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but just like with respect, right?
Yeah.
Like we respect art. Well, we most of us
Mm,
respect art.
yes.
And we see its value, and we see its value so much that we dedicate spaces to it, and like we put it in museums because we know people are gonna want to come and see it, and so we don't hide it away. We display it, right? And
Yeah.
so like if you are treating yourself like art, then you can like you're sharing who you are with
Mhm.
everyone. Like um because as we've talked about with the whole like trying to have a safe space and all of those things, like who you are when you are being authentically yourself is like really important and beautiful, and we want to share that with everyone, and like you should want to share that with everyone. I want to see it, and
Yeah.
so like I think if you can respect yourself the way that you respect art, and you can continue to try to put that out into the world, that
Mhm.
like there are ripples of that, and it doesn't have to be anything big, like being who you are
Mhm.
hopefully can help shape the world around you,
Mhm. I think
i'm
that's
a
beautiful.
I'm a big sucker for like Pixar stories. Stay with me, okay? Hold
What
on.
what what's your favorite? Come on.
Oh my God. Well, I ugly cried so hard at Up. Like I can't
Oh
even.
gosh, yes.
It was like cleansing. Like I was just like,
It's
oh,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But if you really analyze all of those stories,
Mhm.
the basic message is it doesn't matter how small you are, you can change the world. And like I think if we all thought that, that maybe we would have like building a nicer place around you because you are trying to do the little things. Back to those quiet moments, right? Like it's more important. Like, yes, it's huge and big to have all of these like really grand, large things happening, but also like if you think about the moments you remembered being like picked up. I remember I am a terrible flyer. I, for the longest time, was just like so incredibly afraid of flying, like,
Yeah.
really anxious.
Yeah.
I would cry. I would. I would get myself so worked up that sometimes I would like throw up before I left the house just because I was so
Oh.
nervous. Now I'm on mood stabilizers. Everyone should have
Hmm.
them. You're welcome. But prior to all of that, and when I was just so like it was a I was bad. I was bad at flying. And I remember
Not a good
it
experience.
was not good. And I was
Yeah.
at the airport one time alone because I often am flying alone. And I was going to a job that was in Canada. And so I was doing an international flight, and not a huge international flight, but I was leaving the country and there was all these
Yeah.
things. And it was rough to get through TSA. And I was just crying, just like quietly crying the whole time. And I got to my gate, and I was there was no place to sit because of course like, and so I was just like
Oh.
quietly panicking off to the
Yeah.
side, and this stranger, bless her heart, came over and said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that like I think your eyebrows are really beautiful." And I
That
was
is
like,
a very kind and amazing compliment.
right? And I was just like,
Yes.
well, th thank you. And
Yeah.
she was like, yeah, great. And then just like floated away. I don't even think she was on my flight. I don't know who she was.
She's a compliment fairy that just arrives at the right
She
time.
needed, but like it's those little
Wow.
things that you remember, right? And if
Yeah.
I try to be that person for other people because I
Yeah.
remember the impact that it has. Because like I felt so much better after that, and it was the silliest, smallest little thing, but like
Mhm.
I stopped crying and was like, okay, we're okay.
Yeah.
Like
At
it
least you
just,
have great eyebrows. You can handle
if
this.
nothing else,
Yes.
you can see my eyebrows from space, and that's all you need.
They're fantastic. Listen,
So many, I have a
she's
lot of
right.
brows.
You do have great brows.
Thick.
They're Listen,
Cool.
that helps with expression and
Yeah.
style, and
Oh,
it's important. Yes,
yeah.
it's
I
key.
get it. I do not take these brows for granted. Good job.
Yes. But your story is so
Brows for granted.
right. Of one, it kind of showcases how just very small things can really impact others,
Mm-hmm.
and how easy it is also for us to be able to pass that along to someone else.
Yeah.
It's those, you're right, those little things. And it creates now a repetition, that mosaic of who we are, that when we start to see that pattern, it makes sense when we see it in a bigger situation because we've been leading up to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think like one of the things that I try to do is compliment or help moms of toddlers when I'm like in a store by myself.
Yeah.
Because I remember being a mom of toddlers in a store and it's terrible, everybody.
You
I
mean
love,
they don't just sit quietly in the cart looking all cute and goo goo gaga and we're good, in and
oh
out, no
man,
problem?
I love my children so much, but like they trying to be that person who is like, I'm gonna go ahead and get this shopping done while you have
Yeah.
two very active kids who are like just climbing all over you
No.
or like I don't know why it happened, but they never wanted to be picked up unless it was at the exact same time. Like like
Of course.
they did not want me unless
But they don't want to be held together, and you can't
right.
do that
You can't.
anyway.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah,
No.
I had the biggest
No.
mom biceps when the kids were little because it was
Yeah.
just like, whoop, I'll hold everybody. But like the amount of times that I would be in a store and I just felt like I always had to like apologize to the people behind me in line because I had some kid like on my face while I was like trying to dig in my purse to pay for
Let me
whatever.
find my wallet.
Hold
This
on,
is still
I'm
when
so
like
sorry. Yeah,
cash
and
was
like,
still more
oh
popular.
my God, did I leave my wallet in the car somehow? Is it sitting on top of the car because I just needed to get them in there? You know, like I try to just be like overcorrect and give like more
Yeah.
grace. Like, hey, take your time. Can I help you with something? Do you need
Yeah.
me to unload a thing?
Yeah. Can I grab this from the shelf for you? Let me get this for you. Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
distract your kid for 45 seconds
Yeah.
in the cart?
Yeah.
Like, like it's
Yeah.
just
You guys
like,
want to hop in front of me?
go
It was
ahead,
it
just
one
go
last
do
thing.
a thing. Yeah, and I just like it's I guess it's that empathy thing. I'm just like constantly trying to give people what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
That's how I give gifts to people. Speaking of Christmas and presents and
Hmm.
joy,
Yeah.
I just get
Yeah.
so excited about presents. Um, and I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she was like, "You give great presents," and I was like, "Thank you."
Hmm.
It's because I listen to you. I listen to what you want. Like that's how my brain works, right?
Yeah.
Like I file it
Because
away
I listened to you.
because I listen to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. I hear
wh-
you. Hear the things that you're going through, and I think of things that would help you, that would make you smile, that would,
what would I
yes.
have wanted when my kids were tiny? What
Yeah.
would I have wanted when I was recovering from
Hmm.
some kind of surgery? What would I have wanted when I was pregnant with my second and exhausted because my first was running? Like what would I
Yeah.
have wanted? And like I think I try to put myself in that person's place then and
Hmm.
like let's give this present. You know what I think you would like? A break.
Yes. Yes. Hmm. And it's amazing.
I'm gonna take you somewhere
Yep.
away from your
Hmm.
children for half an hour.
But it helps.
It helps.
It's one time where you don't have to be like keeping tabs.
Hmm.
A second pair of eyes always at the side, keeping track. Like you could actually just be present
Yeah.
at one thing at a
Yeah.
time.
I always sleep the best on the first night away from home
No
because like
problem.
because my mom ears are off. I still have
Yeah.
them on. My kids live in
Yeah.
the house, you know? So even
Hmm.
though they don't need me in the same way that they did when they were toddlers, like
Yeah.
I'm always monitoring them. Right now, I can hear them walking around upstairs.
Yeah.
I know where they're at. Um,
Constantly.
Just yeah, I mean pretty constantly. They're
Well,
still both pretty active and they walk
and other
around a
things
lot.
like when you go shopping, you think like, oh yeah, this might be some grocery items that they want. You know, you
Yep.
think of
Yep.
those in your life.
Yeah, and when that's that like mental emotional load that people talk about. Um
Yeah.
that that is a relationship breaker, honestly, for a
Hmm.
lot of people. It's like
Yeah.
you have to do it all yourself. But I think that some people are just better at it, and I hold
But it's
those things in my brain a lot.
better, yes, but it's also a skill that you've learned to develop as well.
Sure.
Because I don't think you mind me pushing back at this at all because I
No, go
think
ahead.
sometimes we see this often with more femme individuals that that emotional burden or relational caretaking is often defaulted. It's not always the case.
Sure.
But we often see that as like, well, it's your responsibility to make sure the Christmas cards go out. It's your responsibility to make sure we get Christmas gifts. It's your responsibility, right, that we have grocery food that everyone will eat.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's small things
Mm-hmm.
in little ways too of like, hey, I notice you chew gum every morning. I got you some,
I
right?
got
Or
you,
like,
Sam.
yeah. Um, and it's not the idea like, well, I'm just not good at that. It may not be natural for some individuals, but it is something that can be learned.
Can be taught. Yeah.
And if you're bad at it, like sometimes I'm not great at it, but you can put reminders on your phone to be like, hey, this. Like I've been trying to remember now, like I want to remember people's birthdays. I'm really bad at memories, but I'm like, I'm gonna start putting them on my calendar now. Like I can't just rely on my memory.
It's
And
like
that way,
maybe the only good thing about Facebook is that
right.
it tells you everybody's birthday.
Very grateful for that.
It's the
Very
only
grateful for
thing that
that.
I use Facebook for anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. But like it's a decision and I call out because you've made the decision
Mm.
to hone this skill,
Mm-hmm.
to care about those around you. And I'm excited for you as you take this next venture onto your own channel. All right.
Oof.
Pixies and pens.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you follow on all social accounts, right?
That's
Go
right.
out, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, right? And of course, Twitch. Um,
It's
but
there.
this is another way in which you get to share and inspire this thoughtfulness, this joy, this art that you create. You're embarking on a very new adventure right now, right? Like it's one thing to be here and you've done great work here. We love the stories that you've told. Building out on your own is something different. What are you excited about for this?
I feel
Oh, girl, what was that
whew,
face?
whew. um I'm gonna let's dive in into my super deep nerd here.
Hmm.
Because
Love it.
I mean I truly feel
Hmm.
like maybe Gandalf just gave me the ring and was like, "You got to go take this somewhere." I'm a little Frodo-y at the moment where I'm just
Okay.
like it feels very
Own that.
big.
Mhm.
I'm excited about being able to like continue to tell my own stories and really do a lot of my own programming and figuring out all of that stuff. But it does feel a little bit like I'm starting over again, which is frustrating. Like
Yeah.
Sarah's Table started on one channel and that channel went kaput with very little information given. Like there was no notice. It was just like they sort of like stopped responding to things and then disappeared. And so I took it to Gen Con TV
Hmm.
and rebuilt and did some, figuring stuff out and what works
Yep.
and what doesn't, and like was over a couple of years. And like I said, I think this is the end of my third year at Gen Con TV.
Mhm.
And now Gen Con TV is doing a huge restructure and change. And so like it definitely, while I am excited, like there's that element of like doing it again, huh? Like, okay, like
Yeah.
the third moving to another home. Like this is a third home that I'm gonna be having for Sarah's Stable. And like um it feels very daunting. Like it feels big. But it feels big because I care about it a lot,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. lose the stories that I'm telling. And like, I don't want to not be able to keep sharing that. But like, what, oh boy, there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't realize, like that. I mean, I knew was being done by other people, but like, I didn't have to think about that, you know? And now with this new, this third incarnation, um, I don't know, maybe this feels like I'm entering into my Tom Holland era,
Ooh,
right? So
yes.
so we were Tobey
Yes.
Maguire and then we were Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. Here we
So
are.
so Tom Holland,
Young, fresh, scrappy.
gonna be see what happens with Peter Parker. Here we
This
go.
is good. This is good.
Yeah, you know, it's just like and I feel like I've been doing a lot of reflecting of like what do I want to keep?
Hmm.
Because it feels like I can really do a restart. Like I sort
Yeah.
of what do I keep and what do I let go and how do I frame that in a way that is gonna like just not make me a crazy person, you know, like with the whole
Lean
abuse, like
into
I'm
it.
gonna
Be
just like
crazy.
just lean right into I mean, this is I have a light up necklace on, so I feel
Yes.
like we've
It's
really set a
beautiful.
tone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love this tone. Listen,
Woo!
whatever decisions you're making, and you have a lot of reflection to go
Yeah,
into this, and it's going to be a continual process, but I'm excited to make sure that you are still here in this space. I'm excited
we'll
that
still be
this
here.
will be a platform of your voice in its entirety. I'm excited to see of the art that you're going to make from it. I'm excited to see you put down those imposter syndrome voices.
Well,
Uh,
maybe it might still be there a little bit,
just
but
make it a
like
little smaller.
just like
Yeah.
coexist. Maybe it's gonna be a
Yeah.
little.
Little, yeah, tiny puppet. We'll
Should
get
we
you a
do?
baby sock.
Should we do a baby sock? Whoop. Um, I do want to do just the tiniest of sign language.
Yes.
So, so this is bird.
Okay.
So we can get it, try to get it bird sized. And
Yes.
this is duck. It has a fatter beak.
Oh, okay.
And then if you want to go goose, so you can call someone
Large.
a silly
Silly
goose.
goose. Silly goose.
Silly goose. Um,
Okay. I love that.
yeah, but bird is little. And
Yeah.
then this is a chicken because it pecks.
Oh, okay. Okay. Two hands. Okay.
Well, you need that second one. Although it's such
Yeah.
a weird thing now with sign language because so many people are doing si
One-handed now.
sign language like this because
Yeah.
they're talking like through FaceTime, and so now they're a lot of things are right here so that
So
people
this
can see
is,
it, and then also you'd have to yeah, chicken would be
yeah.
down here.
Yeah. Bottom of the camera. It looks like there's a hand there.
Yeah, well, even when I'm showing things, I
Wow.
feel like I do
Yeah.
it, I lift it up so that it's within this
It's
little
all within,
zoom. Whoop.
not down here. Up
I
for
mean, almost
everyone.
everything is waist up.
Yeah.
There is one sign in particular that I can think of that is below the waist. I'm sure you can imagine what it is. But almost everything is waist up, but so many things now have become sort of they're evolving into like chest up because of
Yeah.
screens.
That's still wild. I want you to do one stream where maybe multiple, like just make an ongoing series talking about like sign language, how it's evolving, how what's your experience in learning it. Because
Yeah.
I feel like that's oftentimes the lack, like we just don't enter into those conversations.
Yeah.
And by just being there, it opens so many doors and it encourages an eagerness to want to learn it too.
Well, actually, one of the things that happened at PAX Australia, which was like so heartening, and it made
Mhm.
me sort of like warm from
Yeah.
everything. I was just like, yay. Um, I did a lot of signing. I was there with Damon Van Hee, and we would sign to each other, and we went through a like I have a daily lesson that I do and all that stuff, sort of Duolingo-y, but for sign language.
Yeah.
Um, and we would sign. We were at like a crowded convention. And so if we were separated, it was very easy to
Just a
sign what we needed across. Like I remember we were at a bar at the end of Paxos and he wanted me to get him a drink. And so he
yeah.
signed and asked me to get him a drink. And I
Hmm.
said, you know,
Yeah.
What do you want? And he
Hmm.
said, gin, please. And I said,
Yeah.
okay. And I
Instead of
tried,
yelling,
yeah,
Jen.
hey. And so I was next to, so I had been talking to somebody when he caught my eye, and they were like, are you guys signing at each other? I said, yeah. I have to go. He wants a gin and tonic, so I'm gonna go grab him one. And he was
Yeah.
like, that's cool. Show me. And so the amount of like, I was like sitting at this, I went back to the table with the drink and I was like sitting and everybody was like leaning in and being like, well, how do
What
you
is
say
that?
this? Like, what do you
Yeah.
say? And it was just like this
That's good.
crazy loud bar and them trying to figure out how to talk. And we were traveling with, H.G.
Oh.
Winters and Robert Hartley at the time. And, we were with them for like over a week,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the different times. And so by the end of it, I'd come out of my room in the morning and Rob would say, good morning, you
Oh. Yeah.
want some apple? I'm cutting
Hmm.
apple. Do you want some more? Like, yeah, great, because they
Yeah.
had like learned the bits of pieces, just a little bit. And like honestly, just like a little bit of repetition helps you remember little
Yeah.
stuff like that. And like
Yeah.
it was just a really
That's
nice
beautiful.
experience. It was just like
Yeah.
really welcoming. I was just like,
Mhm.
oh, thank you. Because when I take my ears out, I can't hear anything. Like I truly like if I don't have them in, I have to have like subtitles on the TV and like all that
Yeah.
stuff because I just can't.
You can't take it in. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
just not doable.
it's just not there. And so like to have just like also you can do that silently.
Yeah.
Somebody else is in a
Yes.
meeting in the same room. They can
Or
just
just enjoying a quiet morning.
so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. My oldest will frequently the first sign that he learned was I'm tired. I want to go
It's useful.
home. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just tired. Your whole
There was
body just
a
kind of tired.
dog that went viral a couple months ago because he learned what his owner was signing and
Oh,
understood like park or
park or
ball or
walk.
treat or
Hmm.
walk. Yeah, and then, like, he would see it and get
Yeah,
really like all
get super
insane. Like, oh
excited.
no, our dog's learned sign language.
Oh no.
This was supposed to be secret, so we
I
didn't
th
have to get him excited.
I thought we were okay, and yet here it is. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
the thing, it's that repetition, man.
yes.
You do something, you
Yes.
always, yeah, yeah.
But
But
it's also like it's a commitment. Like it's this is how you learn to live if and care for those around you.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
smart. It's
yeah.
smart.
Like help. I want my kids to know how to say,
Hmm.
like, I need help, please.
Yeah.
Um, if you don't know anything else, know how
Yeah.
to ask
Just
for help.
understand that symbol.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it, basic stuff. The same thing that you would do if you were traveling to a different country and being
Yeah.
like, how do I ask for help? How do I
Hmm.
ask where the bathroom is? Like, these are all like
Yes.
sort of basic things that you need to know.
Mhm.
Also, the new 2024 rules for, the redo of D&D, they
Yeah.
offer common sign language as a language that you can take, which I think is
Good.
great.
Good.
I think that's cool. I
Hmm.
like it.
I think it's doable that we could add that one in the
I'm
mix.
gonna add that in.
It
Should know
feels
it.
like we can. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so interesting because like Australian Sign Language and British Sign Language,
Not the same.
so different.
Still doesn't make
And
sense to me like
American
that,
Sign
but
Language.
that's
Well, I
fine.
mean, they were all like developing at the same
I
time in different
know.
spots, and like I get it. But everybody should learn a little bit of sign language.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree.
Baby sign language more.
Babies.
More again.
Yes. And I
No.
think I've shared with this before, but I remember when my cousins were that's what they first taught with their kids.
Uh-huh.
It
Uh-huh.
wasn't focused on speaking words, but they focused on sign language and
Mm-hmm.
communicating that way. And it helped when whether they were at church or at restaurants. And even just making their child feel like they were comfortable advocating or asking for things, whether it was food or drink or bathroom or whatever it was, it
Hmm.
made them comfortable in new environments.
Yeah.
I love that.
Also, like, it's so I already talk with my hands, and I have
I didn't notice.
essentially a cartoon face. I'm very expressive with my
Sweet
face. It's beep beep. And
things.
like that's a huge part of the signing is your
Mhm.
what your face is doing. You know, it's
Yeah.
how you basically negate words.
Yeah.
Like if you say like this is like I like
Mhm.
something. It's just like a like that.
Pull it out like
Like
a thread.
like you're pulling it out
Hmm.
from your heart.
Okay.
But if you want to say you don't like something, you have to like
And you
you
flick
like
it away.
flake it away, which is also the sign for gross. Right? So it's like that same like
Gross.
and it's
Don't like.
as much as what this is doing as it
Yeah.
is your sign, you know? So it's just interesting, like I feel like I already do so many of those facial indicators, like the
Mhm.
secondary indicators. I'm already like
Yeah.
I already have this like so much thing happening.
Let me
So
add to it. One more thing.
yeah. So it's really nice. And I was talking to my audiologist about how I'm learning sign language and how like, you know, the family and partners and friends are like
Yeah.
little bits of it on board. And she's like, that's so nice. Like she's so excited about the whole thing. Like, it's so great.
Well,
Um,
and the
yeah.
more people who partake in it, the more resources tend to come around it too. Like, oh, people want to learn this. Maybe we should develop better apps
It should
around this.
absolutely be taught in schools. Like it should
Yeah.
be a language option in schools.
Hmm.
Like it's
Yeah.
just useful. Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
I love it.
more. But it is hard because you have to practice and you have to practice in a way that you're not also saying the
Yeah.
words because otherwise you rely
And it's not a
on
one
the
for
speech.
one.
Right. Oh, it's so
It's not a
not a
one for
one for
one.
one. Yeah, yeah.
It's but that's the beauty. Like again, like just like when you learn flowers or you're baking or you're going out and experiencing things, learning another language, like sign language, is another way in which you learn to see and engage the world differently. Like,
Hmm.
oh, here's how I frame things. Instead of using these words, I'm using this. Like I'm learning Spanish. I'm like, oh, it's not like clothing store. It's I just learned this. Tienda de ropa, right? Like it's a store of
Store
clothes.
of clothes. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. Like it's the order of things and how we phrase them, and it gives like different priorities, or it opens that door again, right? It gives you another world of saying, here's how we can embrace, understand, and talk about things. Like we've both seen things like, oh yeah, here's all these words that don't exist in English but exist in other
In other
languages.
languages.
Like,
Hmm.
oh,
Well, and
that
like
is the
and then
emotion I've been feeling.
there are words that exist in English that don't like exist in sign language and they become a
Mhm.
hybrid. Like if you want to say someone's a chef,
Yeah,
you say they're a cook person.
I love that one. You
Because this
shared that
is
one with me first.
yeah, because this is
Person.
person
Hmm.
and then this is cook. And so like you're it's the cook person. That's
Hmm.
the chef. And if you want to say it's a kitchen, you say it's the cook room
Oh.
because that is where you do that. Like,
It's defining first by the location and then the thing you
and
do
the
in
thing,
said room.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just such an interesting, like,
Mm.
yeah, because which is why
Okay.
there's been some advocacy recently for like the one of the movies I did it recently was Barbie, because
Hmm.
good job, Barbie, doing all of the
Yep.
good representation. Um, but they have a sign language track that you can put on that's not
Ooh.
subtitles. It is a person in the corner who is signing everything that's happening. That's
Get
all of the
it,
thing.
Barbie?
Because it's different. It's a
Yeah.
different
Different
thing.
message.
And so
Yes.
if sign language is your first
Yeah.
language, then
Hmm.
reading subtitles is going to be cumbersome for you
Yeah.
because it's not the same.
No. No.
Um,
Fascinating.
because that would mean that English is your second language. So if you were born deaf and you learn sign language first, you are learning English as a second language, which means that
Yes.
reading it can be
difficult. You have to translate it.
English
Yes.
is a weird lanlanguage.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like, so like it's just an interesting thing. So anyway, everybody should be like Barbie is what I heard. And you
yes.
should.
Yes. One more reason to admire the system. But like this is again like here's art
Hmm.
leading the way and guiding to say like here's how we can make the world that we actually live in, right? Barbie play pretend, right? Acting, give us a chance, but it allows us to explore this world in the way that we also not just do the art, but the way we execute said
Hmm.
art.
Yeah.
Helps inform us and create the worlds that we do want to live in, to make the world we live in closer to the cool, awesome fantasy, sci-fi, western, whatever world that there is. While I
Yeah.
can't make, dragons real, I can make them
Yet.
mechanically real, maybe, or like right, we can make things the way that we want. And so if we
Yeah.
can make a mechanical dragon, why can't we add sign language to more movies, right? Like
Yeah. Absolutely.
small steps, I
There has
guess.
been a lot of, and I don't know if this is like confirmation bias for me since I have been learning sign language. But like it is showing up more in media,
Yeah.
just like in general. There was a Walmart commercial the other day that was completely in sign,
Hmm.
a Christmas one, and it was it was really sweet because it came
Oh,
on and I wasn't paying attention, and my oldest said, "Mama, look!" And I looked up and he was like, "Sign language," and I was like, "Oh, so lovely." Like it's just sort of like, uh, and
it feels
then
seen.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and like I have no idea if I'm ever going to fully lose that hearing. My right ear is just like it's just broken. It's just a
Yeah.
broken ear. It just does not work.
It's there
It
for decorative
is,
purposes.
yeah, decorative purposes only. Um, but I think that I am trying to be as proactive as possible about like getting out there and getting myself the tools that are going to be most helpful for me. I was
Hmm.
on Careful Cantrip quite a
Hmm.
long time ago. I
Hmm.
mean, months. I think it was just after Gen Con, which feels like 6 years ago, which I know is not
Yeah.
true. It was kind of only a couple months. Um, but they have a lot of like auditory redeems.
Hmm.
And I was on with Raina and we started and
Oh
I
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I might have to have you repeat stuff." And I explained what was going on with my hearing.
Hmm.
And chat was like, "I'm so sorry. We'll turn it off." Like everybody was just like, "Oh no." And just
I
like
love that.
immediately. And like it is really nice to just be like fully embraced and like, "I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Just can't hear." And like to have
Yeah.
everybody be super accommodating.
Yeah.
That is something that Gary Con has just added to their submission
Mm.
process.
Ooh,
One of the things that you can check is I need to be in a quiet space because of hearing restrictions. Um, and I was
that's
like,
cool.
hell yeah. Good job, Luke. This is great.
Ooh.
Like, I love that. But just like to have it be recognized as a thing that would be useful
Mhm.
without having to be like, hey, I have a note. I also,
Yeah.
or just being like getting there and just having to rely so heavily on like, I'm just gonna stare at you and read your lips. Whew.
Yep.
So that is
Yep.
so tiring.
It is. And it's
Wildly
hard.
tiring.
Not everyone does a great job. Some people have very stiff lips, I've
Yeah.
noticed. Like
Yep.
they just kind of talk like this and you can't
Or
like, how am I supposed to read that?
or cover.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who
I
will
can't believe
cover.
this. Yeah.
Then I'm like, well, I don't know what's happening. No idea what's happening with you.
You're like, I gotta make this character that allows me
Oh.
to not hear things. It's great.
Whee! Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's smart and it's another way. One, I love that. I mean, the careful cantrip community is
They were so
super,
good. It
super
was
awesome.
so sweet. And I was just like, you could just like turn
Yeah.
down the sound of it. It doesn't, you don't have to turn it off. And they were like,
Yeah. And
no,
they're like,
never
oh,
mind.
yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
You
sorry.
we want you to feel at home here. This and your home means that we make this around
Yeah.
you. And I that's so smart. And it's so kind, but it's also and they pointed out like right, like it's easy. All we have to say is like we just won't do it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. But
But great
also,
modeling behavior.
I absolutely thank you so much to everybody who was so willing to do that. But also, like, I will never expect anybody to fully
Mhm.
adjust themselves around my needs. There's a reasonable accommodation thing, of course,
Yeah.
um, that everybody should be doing for everyone. But also
Mhm.
like it is mine to manage. I think just the way that I also have like the most weird and severe and strange allergies known to man. I just like I got all of them.
Mhm.
Um,
Winner.
so much winning.
Oh.
But like to the point where like I understand how difficult that can be when I'm going out to restaurants or if I'm going to somebody's house for like a big potluck meal, like
Mhm.
I just won't eat the stuff that I'm not sure about. I always
Yeah.
have snacks in my bag, like just in
Yep.
case. Like,
Yep.
you know,
You're
I
like, this is me. I'm gonna find my solutions. I
I
can do
know that I
this. Yeah.
have weird things that are
Mhm.
different for me, and like I want to make sure that I think that's part of being a grown up too, is like not assuming that everybody will cater to you as much as you would
Mhm.
like to. Which I feel like I'm also, I don't know, maybe it's hypocritical of me because when I have people come over, I'm just like, tell me all of the things that you need and I will do them. Um,
It's a balance, right? And
yeah,
that's where we get to the world we want, is where people don't demand that the world be catered to them, but at the same time, we do try to do our best to cater to those around us.
yeah,
When no one is taking advantage of either or, when we're just trying to be our best towards
yeah,
ourselves and each other, that's the ideal, right? Like you're not wrong to be like, I don't expect everyone to take care of me. You are being a grown up, and that's a very responsible
yeah.
thing. But it's also fair and also a kind accommodation of what we would consider good friends
Sure.
that would say like, hey, you're coming, I know these are things or I have something on my radar that I you might have restrictions on or dietary. How can I help make this an easier experience for you within
Yeah,
reason, like,
yeah.
oh, you're allergic to my dog, well, I'll put my dog in the backyard, I'll vacuum, but you still might need to take an allergy pill before you
Right,
come
right.
over,
Because he
like,
lives here and I can't
yeah,
really do anything about that. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you won't be able
remember
to stay the night.
I remember
Sorry.
being on a film set
Mhm.
a couple of years ago. And I was helping organize it and we were going to have
Yeah.
food
Mhm.
and also there was going to be a dog on set because we needed a dog. And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, well, I will check about everybody's food allergies and I will alert them to let them know that we're going to have an animal on set. So if
Mhm.
anybody has allergies about that. And then it is an outdoor shoot. And so I will check to see who has like outdoor allergies or if anybody's allergic to like bees because we're going to be
Yeah.
in the forest."
Mhm.
And like the person I was talking to who was the director was like, "Oh, yeah, that seems like that would be smart." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I would want to know."
Yeah. Let's give people a little awareness. And that way they can make good decisions
Right.
with
And like
themselves.
obviously we can't not have the dog on set because we need him
Hmm.
for the shoot, but like
Right.
we should let people know that there's going to
Yeah.
be an animal. If you have allergies, take your meds before you get here. Like you should
Yep.
do those things, you know? Like and I just and I part of it for me is that because I have such weird ones, I'm like hyper aware of everybody's allergies, because I just
Yeah.
have they're just weird. Like
It gives you a lot of perspective when you've lived a lot in life,
and then when people are like, when I'm like, are you, what are your food allergies? And they're like, oh, I don't have any. I'm like, wow, what is
Who
that
are you?
like? Like, you could just eat whatever anybody hands you. That's amazing. Um, yeah.
The life.
But like, I think just like having that perspective of like, I should just let people know. Like, let's just
Hmm.
check
Yeah.
because if somebody has like a pretty severe gluten allergy and we're serving only pizza for lunch, like we need to know
Yeah. And
because
it's not that like
they can't
most
not
even
eat. Like,
Pizza Hut even offers like a gluten-free
sure,
option now.
yeah,
All of the major chains do,
but you
but you
like
got to
wouldn't
ask.
get that if you because it's
Hmm.
more expensive and like why would you need that? So like,
Yeah. Okay, as a heads up, we're serving pizza, right? That way people at least know, like, oh, hey, by the way, I can't have gluten. Good to know,
good to
especially if it's
know.
corporate. Corporate pays for that. Like that's
That's
part of their
right.
budget. They got to make it
That's
happen.
right.
Um,
Take advantage
yeah,
of the corporations.
but it's a reasonable accommodation. Like, and that's the
Reasonable.
key thing. Like by having these dialogues, then you can make appropriate and reasonable conversations. You can discuss what's reasonable and what isn't, right? Like we can't be like, well, all the pizzas have to be gluten-free. We'll bring two different
All
options,
right.
right? You
Now,
know, and then
now
we'll
you've
have
gone a little too far
yeah,
in the
like
other direction.
let's talk, right? And that's where it comes with the talking, right? Like
Yeah.
let's figure out what can we all do to make sure we get as much happiness out of a situation as possible.
Yeah. What are your allergies? Do you have any allergies? Are you one of those people that can just eat anything? Yeah, you are. Yeah. Boo. I mean, that's great. That means
It's a great life.
I can send
Yeah.
you whatever.
Yeah.
If I ever want
Yeah.
to. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
No, that's
I
great.
am allergic to cats, which is really unfortunate because I
You're
love
probably not going to
cats.
eat them though.
No, but
That's
I
what I've heard.
wish I could have one.
I mean, you
I
can.
not to eat, but like to cuddle with
There
or,
are also
to scratch
several
me.
kinds of cats that have lower dander that you could
Yes.
probably, but it would, I mean, you'd have to take allergy meds every day, but like then you'd have a cat, so like weighing it, you never
Tough
know.
decisions we all have to make,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
One decision we don't have to make is because we'll roll D6 for
Oh,
our final
yes.
drink.
Final drink. La 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 la.
Okay, I'm re-rolling because I got cayenne pepper again, and
Oh
I cannot put more
no.
cayenne pepper in this. I need something else.
I got toffee bits.
Toffee bits. Oh, that's a good choice. I didn't even think of toffee. I'm just doing cinnamon this time.
I always think of toffee.
Toffee is delicious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right,
Big
as
fan.
we're doing our final drink concoctions, remind us all the platforms. You also have a Discord.
I do have a Discord.
You have a Discord. Remind us all the platforms where we can find Sarah's table, Pixies and Pins,
Um,
so
um,
that way we can support and be excited and share all the good things that you are doing.
I am on um Twitter and
Mm-hmm.
Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and Twitch and Ko-fi and Blue Sky and Discord, all as Pixies and Pins.
Okay.
Um,
Easy.
Facebook is weird. Um, it's actor Sarah Moore because that was there before I did anything, and it's impossible to change your name.
It's easier just to keep it. Yeah.
Just keep
Yeah.
it. Let's keep it.
Actor Sarah Moore.
Actor Sarah Moore. All of the pictures are me in some kind of nerd outfit, so it's easy to find.
Mm,
And then that's it. I think that's it. Those are all of the places you can find me. You can
that's
also find
wonderful.
me at formerlyferalgames.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you can find the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, vanishinglands.com
Mm-hmm.
is for that one. Oh, and then my website is pixiesandpins.com, but I'm trying to redo it. I just have to get all of the things over to Bec, who's gonna help me. I just haven't done it yet.
When you're ready, we
It's a
will
lot to
build
do.
it. Um,
And if you build it, they will come. That is what I
yes.
heard. Kevin
Yes.
Costner told me
I
I
don't,
could
yeah.
be a baseball player if I build it. I'm pretty sure that's what
Yes.
that movie was about.
I think so. There's cornfields too. So
A lot of corn.
yeah. And as we know, you kill plants. So I don't know. We'll find out.
So many plants. Like even succulents. Like can't even keep a succulent alive.
That's
Tried
not
so hard.
good.
I know. I know. And like, cause you can get like
They're supposed to be pretty
I
indestructible.
know, like, because there's pink succulents, right? And so I
Yeah.
was like, well, succulents are really easy and it's pink
Yeah.
and beautiful and I'll do it. No,
Easy.
just killed it and like so quickly too. It wasn't even like I had it for a couple of, no, it like week and a half.
Listen,
That was gone.
the succulents may not be alive in your life, but your art is.
Trying
So we'll be
doing my best.
excited. Good
Woof.
friends. If you want to keep in touch with Sarah and all the good work she's doing, make sure you give her a follow. It's super easy. If you find her on one platform, you can find her on all of the platforms. And I mean, you listed like every single platform out there. So it's really dealer's
It's all
choice.
the
You can't go
things.
wrong.
Whichever one is your
Yeah.
favorite one,
Yeah.
you could probably go there.
Yes. Yes. Make sure you follow. I mean, we love art here, as we've said.
Too.
And there's a lot of free actions that you can begin with that help support artists,
Yes.
following their accounts, liking, commenting, it goes so far.
Yeah.
You cannot
Sharing
imagine.
stuff if
Hmm.
there's something that we have going on that you can like talk
Yeah.
about. Do that.
Help, support, and thank you for being a part of Sarah's community. Sarah, I want to thank you personally for all the work that you've done in the space, not just here at Gen Con TV, where you've been here 3 years,
Woo!
but also just being a force of good, right? TTRPGs welcomes a lot of people in here, and it's great. And in a just crowded chorus of voices, it's wonderful to always hear yours ringing out that welcomes even more people into the space, that encourages right goodness, kindness, and silliness. And I love it. I love it every time I hear it. So,
Sometimes, like, maybe the bravest thing that you can do is
mhm.
just like be an idiot a little bit.
So
And I live by that. Like, it's
I
okay.
love that.
Okay to be dumb.
A little dumb.
I spent a long time sort of suppressed, like, along with the like emotional, like, I was like, I have to be super mature. And like, I'm not. I'm
Don't
an
be.
idiot. And
Yeah.
like, I am just a big dorky goofball. And like,
Mhm.
I'm like, so we're just gonna do it. I'm gonna wear this sweater that looks like a Christmas tree, this light up necklace. Um,
Lean into it.
just gonna lean in, lean all
Lean
the
into
way
it.
in. And sometimes that means I fall over because I lean in real hard, and that's fine.
That's also fine.
Um,
Go
it's so
all in.
fine. I legitimately was
Yes.
DMing at a friend's house
Hmm.
not too long ago and gestured so big that I tipped the chair over.
I was wondering where the falling part was coming in. Yeah. There it is.
I gestured real big and just fell. And it was like a slow fall. Like the chair just like slowly tipped over and then I
But
was
you were
on the ground.
committed.
Yeah, I didn't. I
Hmm.
was like, we can't stop this. This is
You can't.
happening.
I love it though. I love it
And
though.
then I was on the ground.
You are an inspiration to us all. May we all fall on our faces this week.
Everybody fall. Because if you are with the correct people,
Mhm.
falling on your face is a safe place and it's okay.
That's beautiful. Saris,
Yeah.
you want to close us out for this?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say come and see me again on here, but this is it. This is the end of it. Which is very exciting. Oh, thank you so much for being on my last stream with me here on
Of course.
on Gen Con TV. Um, and yeah, come find me on all of my Pixies and Pin stuff and go follow Caustic Phoenix because she is also a delight of a human. Um, I will wait. Go ahead and go do it right now. Okay, good. I'm feeling all of the clicks. It's just gonna take an extra minute. Perfect. Um, and as always, keep making art and keep being art. And I will see you, I guess, on the next platform when we're all Tom Holland.
Yes.
Yeah.